بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome dear students, this is Miss Layla Al-Jihani. Inshallah today we will continue our unit 5, making choices. Today inshallah we will cover lesson 4, language in context. Before we start, let's recall what we covered in our previous lesson. In our previous lesson we covered the grammar. Do you remember what we covered in our grammar? Yes, we covered the conditionals. We covered the conditionals in the present and the future form. In the present form, we add s with he, she, it, and we don't add anything with the other pronouns. We don't add anything to the verb. With the future form, we have two situations. When we are 100% sure, we use will or going to. When we are not really sure, we use may or might, okay? Also, we learned how to form sentences using I'd rather to show preferences. What do we prefer, okay? Inshallah, in our lesson today, language in context, by the end of the lesson, you will be able to use the conditionals to express cause and effect in a given context. So we will use the same grammar we covered in our previous lesson. Before we start, I gave you homework page 118 and 119. Let's go through the answers together. For exercise B, here we have an example. If I spend, as we said in our previous lesson, we said we have an F cause and we have the result clause, صح? So with the F, we always put present tense. The other part, we either use it in the present or the future. Like here, number 1. This is the F clause, okay? Here, we call it the cause. This sleep, we have to put it in the present tense. So if I sleep or sleeps, excellent, we put sleep. The teacher won't be happy. But if I don't study until midnight, and we have a negative here, pass. Here, we either use the past or the present, sorry, or the future. So if we have a negative, what do we use? Will or won't with the negative? Won't. So won't pass the exam. This is for exercise 1. I'm sure you did all the exercises. So can you just tell me the answers for each exercise? As we said, the first part, if it rains, excellent, because we have it here. Rains a lot this week, the team won't be able to practice for the big game. If the weather is nice, the team, what? Will, excellent, will practice every afternoon. Number 3, if the temperature drops below 0, rain changes to ice and snow. But if the temperature stays above 0 degrees, rain, here we will use the present because it's a fact. So we say with rain, we use do or does not freeze, doesn't freeze, because we have rain here. Number 4, if I decide, excellent, on King Saud University, I'll move to Riyadh next fall. I will be happy there if I make friends quickly. Number 5, if I tell my parents that I didn't do well on the test, they will be angry. If I, here we use the present, don't tell my parents the truth, they will be angry too. This is for number 5. Number 6, if you drop an apple, it falls to the ground. If you drop a feather, it floats to the ground. Number 7, if Sultan gets the job, he will move to Dhahran, but if he moves to Dhahran, he probably won't see his friends and family very often. Okay, let's see number 8. If Mahmoud, here we with the if part, we use the present, makes his hotel reservation now, he will be guaranteed a room. If Mahmoud doesn't go on vacation, he will have cancelled his reservation. Okay, this is it for exercise B. Now moving on to exercise C. I'm only gonna give you the answers. I'm sure you already answered these questions. We have in this exercise 2 parts in a table, صح? So you have to match the first part, which is the fact, with the possibility. You have to match it to form a statement, okay? So write sentences about fact and possibilities. Use the information in the list provided below. So you have to use this list. The city is thinking about putting a modern sculpture in a square in an old part of town. Okay, so here they are writing about the sculpture. Okay, so let's see the example provided in our book. The sculpture will be expensive if the city puts a modern sculpture in the square. The city will have to pay for the sculpture. Okay, this is the example provided in our book. We have other exercises, so you have to look at the facts and possibilities and try to match them. Okay, now let's see number 1. We have number 1, the garden club loves trees. If the city doesn't put a modern sculpture in the square, the garden club will plant trees instead. So for number 1, we will write will plant trees instead. Let's read the answers for number 2. May be more beautiful than it is now. Number 3, may not visit the square. Number 4, may not like the modern piece of art. The last one, 5, will have a new place to sit. Hopefully your answers are correct. Now let's see exercise D. Okay, write sentences about situations of your life. So now you have to write about yourself. Okay, use will, what will or might happen. So you have to use either will or might. Okay, for example, here they provided an example. If I spend less time playing video games, I may do better in school. We have 4 more options here, 4 more options. You have to write statements related to you, okay? There is no right or wrong answer as long as you do a good sentence formation. You use, for the first part, the cause. You use the present. The second part, you either use will or might, okay? Because we're making speculations here. Write 4 sentences related to you. I have here some examples. I'm sure you did a really good job in your sentences. For number 1, if I stop eating junk food, I may start going to the gym. This is the first statement. If I get more sleep, I won't be so tired in the morning. Number 3, if I practice more, I'll be able to speak English better. 4, if I save money, I might buy a computer. I'm sure you provided more examples. Please share your statements with your classmates and see the difference of your answers. Now for our lesson today, inshallah, we will cover language in context, okay? In our lesson, how will the following things affect your life? You have to see a list of things and think about it and how it will affect your life. Discuss in small groups. So you will not work alone, you will work with your friends. This is not a writing exercise, this is a speaking exercise. You have to discuss it, talk to each other about the list, okay? طيب, here we have an example. You have to do something similar, okay? If I don't go to college, I might not get a good job, okay? This is an example. Can you make something similar? I'm sure you will, okay? This is the list we will cover. Go to college. You have to match, this is a list of causes and this is a list of effects. You have to match it to form a statement using the if conditionals, okay? Like this one. If I don't go to college, I might not get a good job. طيب يا miss, how do I do it? Let's see how can we form the conditionals. Let's revise it. As we said before, here we have two statements. These are these are conditional sentences. If you cook an egg in the microwave, it explodes, okay? طيب, here we have the if, the cause. This is the if clause, we call it the cause. And here, the underlined one, we call it the result part, okay? The cause part and the result part, okay? This is when we are talking about the present facts. We use simple present tense in both clauses. We use present here in the cause and the result effect. If, present, and the second part, present simple. And what if we have a future form here? How do we use it? If Saeed gets the job, he will be very happy. As we said before, this is the cause, the if part, we call it the cause, and this is the result, okay? The one underlined. How do we form it? We use the simple present in the if clause. Here we use the present, and here we use the future, either with will or going to, either with will or going to, okay? This is the formation, this is how we form the statement. Also, when we're talking about the future, sometimes we use may or might. If part and the result part, we use may or might when we're talking about the future, when we are not really sure, when we are 50% sure, not really sure. Like when we are sure, we use will or going to, okay? But when we are like 50% certain, we use may or might, okay? This is a mind map of the whole thing. With the if, the cause part, we use the present. And the second part, we use either the present or the future. With the present, we use present simple. With the future, when we are really sure, we use will or going to. When we are really not, it's possible, not really certain about it, we use may or might, okay? Now moving on to the lesson, okay? Look at it, try to match it, try to form the sentences. We will form it. When you form the sentences, sometimes each sentence can contain the first part. We can have it two affirmative. We have a positive, two positive statements, okay? Like here, if I go to college, I will get a job. We have a positive statement here and a positive statement here. Sometimes we have it both negative in the cause and the result part, all negative. So if I don't go to college, I won't get a good job. So here we have a negative and a negative. But sometimes we have one positive and one negative clause. Like here, we have here the positive, here the negative. If I go to college, I won't be able to work. Okay, this is how we form the statements. We form one positive, okay? And we have two negatives, and we have sometimes one positive, one negative when we are forming the clause statements, okay? Now let's do it. Let's really do the exercise now. Go to college. This is the cause part. Which one can we match it to? Think about it. Which one can we match it to? Look at the statement. Travel to another country. Get good grades. Get a scholarship. Get a lot of money. Which one you think you can match it with? I think we can match it with get a lot of money. If you go to college, you can get a lot of money. Okay, how can we form the sentence? Okay, let's match it first. What about the second one? Learn English well. When you learn English well, which one can we match it with? You can get good grades. Okay, save some money. When you save some money, you can travel to another country. When you move to another town, you can get a scholarship. I match it like this. You can match it differently. It's up to you. Okay? Now let's see how I can form the sentences. For the first one, go to college. If I go to college, I'll get a lot of money because I will get a really good job, so I will get a lot of money. What about the second one? If I don't learn English well, I won't get good grades. Here, I use negatives, both negatives. I changed it a bit. You don't have to use positives all the time, okay? If I save some money, I'll travel to other countries, okay? I'll travel to other countries. The last statement, if I move to another town, I'll get a scholarship, okay? This is how I formed it. I match it. You can match it differently. You can I'm sure you will do much better job. You can match go to college, get a scholarship. You can match it differently, okay? Match it, form the statements, talk to your friends, discuss and speaking, use the conditional statements to form sentences in this exercise. For your homework, you have to do page 120, okay? Let's recall what we covered in our lesson today. In our lesson, we use the conditionals to express cause and effect in a given context. This is what we covered in our lesson today, okay? As we do in every lesson, we have the irregular verbs here. Page 82, let's complete the irregular verbs. And how do we form it in statements? The seventh verb here, we have do, did, and done. I do my homework. I did my homework. In the past, I have done my homework, okay? Now, the eighth one, we have drink, drank, and drunk, okay? We should drink some juice. This is the present, the past. We drank some juice. We have drunk some juice. The last one, 9. Here we have drive, drove, driven, okay? He drives a 4x4 in the dunes. He drove in the past, and he has driven. This is the verb 3, the third form of the verb. Hopefully, this makes everything easier for you. Please practice more and try to form sentences using the irregular verbs. That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and inshallah, I will see you next class.